Hello everyone, today we're going to see how to create a virtual private gateway on Azure or Azure VPN, how do you want to call it. And before we start creating the resources, I have created a little architecture or little diagram where I'm going to explain what we are going to do. So here we have our Azure side. Here we are going to create a virtual machine and also the virtual private gateway inside a virtual network that has this network range. And in the other side, we have the on-premise side that has this network segment. And here we're going to also create a virtual machine. So the virtual machine in the on-premise side and the virtual machine in the Azure side can communicate between each other via a VPN. So, well, because I don't have like a on-premise environment right now, we are going to simulate this on-premise environment using AWS. So, in this video, I'm not going to focus on the creation of a VPN on AWS. If you want, we can see that in another video. But yeah, we're going to focus on the creation of the virtual private network gateway here on the Azure side. So yeah, we can start creating the resources. So I'm going to go here on Azure. Here on Azure, I already have my virtual network created. And if you can see, this is the address space that I have here. 192.968.00/24. And here we have the subnets. I have the subnet servers that is where our virtual machine is going to be. Okay, so before we start creating the virtual private gateway, we need to create a subnet. So let's click here on subnet. And here on subnet purpose, we are going to select virtual network gateway. And when we create a virtual network gateway on Azure, we need to create a dedicated subnet. This dedicated subnet has a reserved name, that is this one, gateway subnet. We cannot change this name. And here we need to define the size of the subnet. It doesn't need to be too big. It can be like a little subnet. We can define /27. So don't use too much addresses. And everything else we left as default. And let's click on add. Okay, and now our gateway subnet is created. Now we can go and create a virtual private gateway. So let's right here, virtual private gateway. Let's click here. And here we're gonna click create. Well, this is a special gateway. We need to click here VPN gateways. Perfect. Now, yeah, let's click create. And we're going to select our subscription. We're gonna put a name. In this case, I'm gonna put VPN test. We're going to select the region. In this case, I'm going to select East US. We're going to select the gateway type. In this case, it is a VPN. The SKU. I'm going to select this VPN gateway 183. This one is the cheaper one. In generation, I'm going to select generation 1. And here on virtual network, I'm going to select the virtual network that we saw earlier. And it automatically auto-select the subnet that we create before, the gateway subnet. If you don't, you need to create this gateway subnet before create the virtual network gateway. And here we're going to create the public IP. If we have a public IP that is not that is not associated to any resource, we can select it here. But in this case, I don't have any public IP, so I'm going to create a new one. I'm gonna put it public IP and VPN. The assignment auto select static. Here on enable active mode. For now, I'm gonna click disable. Also, we can see in another video how to create a VPN with active mode and BGP. In this case, it's going to be a static VPN. So after that, we can click next, next, and let's click create. And now it's going to start creating the VPN gateway here on Azure. This process take a little bit, so I think it takes between around 20 minutes and 30 minutes. I have faced sometimes a little more, so yeah, we're going to wait to complete the creation and let's see. Okay, after the creation complete, the VPN gateway is going to be created, so we can go to resource, or we can click here and click virtual network gateway, VPN gateways, and our VPN gateway is going to appear here. And here we can see the resource group, the location, the SKU, the gateway type, the VPN type, it is route based, the public IP, yeah. Now we need to create a connection with the other side. So here we are going to click on connections and we are going to click add. Okay, yeah, here we need to select the subscription, the resource group where the connection is going to be, and the connection type is going to be site-to-site IPsec. And yeah, here, well, before create the site-to-site connection, we need to select, we need to create the local network gateway that represents the logical side of the on-premise or other cloud side. So I'm going to click here, exit, and I'm going to write local network gateways. Yeah, and here I'm gonna click create. Here I'm gonna select the resource group, the name. I'm gonna put it local network gateway AWS, because on AWS it is the other the size where we want to connect. Here on endpoint, I'm gonna click IP address, and here on IP address, I'm gonna put the public IP address of the VPN device that is in the other side that we want to connect. In this case, I'm gonna put here the public IP of the VPN of AWS. So here on AWS, as I told you, I have here everything everything created. If you want, we can see in another video how it would be to create a VPN here on AWS. But for now, we're gonna focus on the Azure side. So here are the public IP addresses of the AWS site. I'm gonna copy this one for the tunnel one, and here on address space I'm gonna put the private address, the private address range of the other site, in this case AWS. Here is the address space that we want to let to connect to our Azure resources. So in this case, our address space here on AWS is this one, 10.0.0.0/24. And we want to let this address space to connect to our Azure resources. We can put more addresses in case we have more. In this case on AWS I only have this. So I'm gonna click next. This I'm gonna leave it as no. Next, and great. And here is now creating the local network gateway here on Azure. Okay, so now we can go back to virtual network gateways. Here on VPN gateways, let's select the VPN gateway. Here on connections, and here we're gonna click add. We're gonna select the connection type as site-to-site IPsec, and we're gonna put a name. In this case, I'm gonna put it Azure to AWS. Let's hit next. Here I'm gonna select the virtual network gateway that we have created on Azure, and here we're gonna select the local network gateway that we created before. Here on authentication method, we're gonna put the share key. In this case, we can write here our own share key, or in case that the on-premise device has already a share key, we're going to paste the same share key here. In this case, the VPN on AWS generate a share key, so we're gonna put the same here. So this is the share key. I'm gonna copy and I'm gonna paste it here. Okay, the IKE protocol, I'm gonna select version 2, and everything else I'm gonna leave it as default. I'm gonna hit next, and great. So after the creation is complete, we can go back to the virtual network gateway, VPN gateways, here on connections, and here is going to appear the connection that we just created. For now, the status appears as unknown. This has to change to when we have the configuration on the on-premise or on the other side already configured, and here on Azure we have the configuration already also configured. This status is going to change to connected. In this case, I already did the AWS configuration, and if we hit refresh, yeah, now appears as connected. So this means that the Azure side, the Azure VPN side, is already connected to the other side. In this case, on-premise, or in our case, AWS. So now, yeah, we connected. Now I already have created the virtual machine here on Azure, and I have created a virtual machine on AWS to do the test. So I'm gonna, to show you here on the network settings, on the network security group, I have only allow my IP to connect to this VM via RDP via a public IP. But in this case, we're gonna connect to each other via a private IP. So in this case, on the left side, I have the Azure VM, and on the right side, I have the AWS virtual machine. So if we go to PowerShell here, and also here, if we hit IP config, we can see that this VM has the 192.968.0.4 IP address, and this one on the right side, we have that 10.0.0.123 private IP address. If we check that here on Azure, it is the same IP, the same private IP. And if we go here on AWS, here on EC2, it is also the same private IP address. So what are we going to do now is it is a ping between each other. In this case, I'm gonna ping 10.0.0.123, and here on the right side, ping 192.168.4. So if you see, there is still no communication, but here we have like we need to disable the Windows firewall here on the VMs, because if the Windows firewall is enabled, the ping is never going to be successfully. So if we go here, control panel, security, Windows Defender, let's turn off, okay, let's close this. If you see here, the AWS instance is already reaching the VM on Azure. And now here on the AWS instance, control panel, security, Windows Defender, turn off, okay. But the Azure VM still doesn't succeed the pings to the AWS instance. That's because on AWS, here on the security group, we haven't enabled the network address that we have on Azure. So I'm going to add a new rule, allow all traffic, and here I'm gonna put the address space that we have on Azure. Okay, let's save rules, and let's see. Yeah, there it is. The ping started to successfully reach the VN on AWS. So now we have communication between both VMs from the AWS sites that it's simulating the on-premise sites, and also from the here on the left side, the Azure, that is the Azure VM. We can reach also the from the on-premise side or AWS side, we can reach the Azure VM, and from the Azure side, we can reach the on-premise or AWS VM. So that's how you create a VPN, and also here we can try to connect via RTP between VMs, and it's going to be successfully. So that's how you create a VPN gateway here on Azure. Like I said before, if you want to see this, how is the creation of a VPN on AWS, we can make a video of that. And yeah, also that is everything. And yeah, have a good day.